My name is Frankie Baker. I am the community manager for RoboLink. What that means is I help with our community. So last year we launched a ambassador program. And so that is kind of connecting our top users and our big, just our top users with our team. And they're our beta testers. They're helping format our product. They're out there giving presentations. And so some of those names I recognized. Hello, if you've joined since I said hi to everyone. I am located in Dallas, Texas. I actually taught in Frisco. So if you're familiar with the DFW area, I was in North Dallas. I'm a former math teacher and a digital learning coach. So what that means is I helped teachers use technology. Some days it was, how do I log into this platform? What's my password? And other days we were making some really transformative learning experiences. So every day was a little different, and not much has really changed in this role either. And I put on here kind of as a joke, current hype girl. If anyone knows Obed, we we've been in a bunch of communities in ed tech, and one day we were kind of realizing, oh wow, our communities overlap a lot. And he's like, kind of the hype girl for everything. And I said, you know what? I think you're right. I love ed tech and I love future ready learning and student centered learning. So it's very easy to become a hype girl when there's so many great tools and communities and people out there who have those same priorities and are doing those things. Oh, disclaimer. Since this is our first webinar, y'all get to be my first period. So you know how that rolls. I get to figure it out with y'all. So let's go ahead and do a poll. I just launched it, so I believe it will just show up on your screen. It's just 3 quick questions. Should have had this up while I was chatting. I'll just keep talking. If you're on social media and we are not friends there, I would love to be. It's Bacon EdTech. While we're waiting for people to fill out the poll, I can tell you the story behind Bacon EdTech. I like bacon. I don't love it enough to be identified with bacon forever. The story is my maiden name is Sheldon, and then I got married in December, so mid-year, and it became Baker. And so my students really wanted to put them together somehow. And even though I said it's okay, you can call me Miss or Coach Sheldon, I'll respond to Baker, whichever. And so someone put together Baker and Sheldon and became Bacon. And so then that's kind of the joke, Bacon. And then fast forward, I guess a year or two, I was voluntold to get a Twitter, and I was very bitter about it. I did not want to get a Twitter. And so it was bacon math. And my picture was the bacon Bitmoji, like me as a strip of bacon. And I did it to be annoying. And then I got more and more involved on Twitter, and it became such a resource for me. And so, it's still one of my favorite platforms to go and learn. And so then once I got out of math and into ed tech, I had to change it, and I kind of became attached to bacon. So there's the story behind Bacon Ed Tech, if you didn't know it. But so all that to say, if you are on LinkedIn, if you're on X, Blue Sky, Facebook, I'd love to connect. Okay, so it seems like we have quite a few of us are familiar with Coach.edu. Ooh, about 50, exactly 50-50 have done the aerial drone competition. That is exciting. That's really cool. Okay, I am going to go ahead and end the poll so we can keep going. Thank you so much for sharing. And I will read out some of the unhinged morning routines later, and then we can I'll share out the rest ones. Our agenda today. So we're going to talk about all new updates, all the exciting stuff. We're going to do some what's available now, what's available later, and what's available in the store. We're going to go over some refreshers, so just some best practices, troubleshooting. We're back to school, so you've had everything on your plate, and then you also had summer to kind of forget some of those troubleshooting tricks that you may have developed last year. So we're going to go over that. And then we'll end it with ways to get involved. As a reminder, we're giving away a drone today. So if you are attending this webinar, your name's going to get put into a drawing. I'll announce the winner when I send out the follow-up email along with the reporting link. And then we're also giving away early access to our new curriculum that's launching later this month. So very exciting. I'll get to that in a second. So Our story. So if you are here, you know me, you know RoboLink, but I want to talk about our story and our mission. I don't want to read this slide word for word, even though I feel like the whole mission's pretty great. I just want to highlight on that we believe that students aren't just consumers of technology, they are the creators, pilots, and pioneers. So we equip educators with future-focused tools that engage students in coding, technology, and teamwork by bringing the drone competition experience into the classroom. So here's actually a picture of one of our ambassadors in her classroom. Oh, there's my mouse. And then here's a competition right here. So we'll kind of talk about the competition soon. I know we're at 50-50 involved, not involved. We will also talk about the very exciting Mission 2026 that was dropped yesterday. So I want to highlight a few things here just about the drone. Oh, of course, I have a drone on hand. Because there has been some mixed communication, I feel like, based on the payload. So that is what the drone can carry. Technically, yes, the drone is powerful enough that it can carry something. However, we don't recommend it because if you look at the bottom, you have these two sensors in the middle. The circular one is your optical flow sensor, and that rectangular one is your bottom range. And it needs to be unobstructed to the ground so that your flight is so it can be consistent and your code can be effective. If you're carrying something underneath it, those sensors won't be able to operate fully, and now your drone will have a good flight. So just wanted to kind of put it out there, the debate of payload, no payload, no payload. Let's get into some updates. So we have, oh, I do want to go back to this screen. Here we go. We do have a new look for Blockly and Python. So if you logged in, or if you've logged in this school year, I think mid-August actually, or later, you'll notice that Blockly looks different. I lost my mouse. There we are. So it's darker. You'll notice that some of the commands look a little bit different. They're organized differently. Another really exciting feature here that I do want to highlight is that there's these tabs up here. So you can have different tabs or pages of code within the program. Python actually is almost on the cusp of getting released. So if you go look at Python, it will be the original look, but at the top, you're able to go try out the new look in beta testing. So regardless of if you are on in Blockly or Python, you get new and improved. Another exciting news update that we've had is that we have a new collaboration with TI. And so you can now code your drone with your TI Nspire. So what that means is that now you don't have to have a computer hooked up to your controller and go code. You can code using TI Nspire. It's Python language, but it's all stored within the calculator. One note I forgot to mention when we started is there is a Q&A option here. So if you would like to drop some questions, I'll be checking in periodically, but I'll for sure check in at the very end. So if you have questions, drop them there. Hopefully I'm able to kind of answer them as we go. Another exciting feature that we have released now is the position functions. So previously, you were able to code the drone to go certain in a direction for a certain period of time. Now you can have it go in a certain for a certain distance. So hence why that optical flow sensor on the bottom is so important. So here's an example of what that looks like. We do have a help doc that's linked here that I can give out to y'all at the very end if you want more information about how to use those position commands. We recently just did a We Teach CS training. So it's 4 days of training. It was all about CodeDrone EDU. And we had some of our more experienced users, once they kind of mastered the activity, they went and tested, of course, measured like how accurate is the distance. And they were very impressed. I was also impressed because I had not been able to try it out myself, especially not in a scientific manner like that. And so they did the square and it landed almost in the exact same spot. So very exciting there. We also have regular blog posts. So if you aren't familiar, yeah, I'm fine there. If you aren't familiar with our blog posts, we post once a week, maybe once every other week. We're pretty consistent, so I'd say probably once a week. And so the topics vary, but the ones I really wanted to highlight today are the seasonally themed activities. So these are ones that I have brainstormed, thought of, or maybe I've gotten inspired by users out in the wild. And these are all activities that are kind of themed with what's going on in the world. So in the back to school blog post, there's activities that are kind of like introducing yourself, or you give your drone a personality, or you recreate a map of the school on the floor and the drone navigates the kids' schedules. Kind of fun stuff like that. Uh, these are all designed to be very low lift. Let's say you have a weird day or a weird time frame where you're not really sure what to do, and you don't have a whole lot of time to run to the printer or to design something, or it's the day before a break and you don't want to teach anything new because they're going to forget it. These are great activities that keep kids engaged and challenged and keep your sanity. We also have a Codron to Career blog series. And so what this is these are focused RoboLink lessons for any careers that utilize drones. And so right now we have supply chain and logistics, search and rescue, and agriculture. So this provides research. This is provides some content and information about those careers, and then we will cite some lessons or activities that pertain specifically to these careers. So if you're in a school that really has a big agriculture in their economy, this would be a great place to start. Just kind of get that buy-in from the kids. Updates coming soon. So these are ones that are not released yet. I have gotten approval to tell you though. Always kind of that weird, can I say it? Can I not? I can say it. So we have Drone Lab, and so let me switch over here. There we go. So we have Drone Lab, and so this is your one-stop shop for everything with RoboLink Learn and all the resources that we have. Think of it almost like as a hub. And so you'll look up here, and so this is where you can easily access the Blockly and Python platforms that, once again, are all web-based. You can go to the curriculum right here. We are going to start having coding challenges, which are brand new. I'll get into those in a second. And you can also access all your drone and sensor information from Drone Lab. So over here, you can kind of see your count log is here, and then also any of your sensor data. And then you can check your firmware updater, your pre-flight checklist, and run diagnostic tests. We are going to have an updated lesson portal. So this is kind of going to be the chunk of our presentation, I feel like, because we have worked so hard on it. This is what you're going to be getting early access to. This is what we would love your feedback on also. But so let me kind of go through it, and things that are going to stay consistent. It's going to stay free. Teachers will need to log in after a certain amount of lessons. And it's not because we need you to pay, it's because we are differentiating the teacher experience from the student experience. So here with the teacher login, you have a teacher and student toggle, which as a digital learning coach, I love. That's great. I'd love to be able to see what, and even as a teacher, it's great to know what are the kids looking at. We're going to have a bunch of teacher resources, and so those are becoming more robust than what we currently have, and they're all going to be housed within the platform. So currently they're kind of linked to a Google Drive or to YouTube. Here they're all on the platform. You'll have lesson plans, you'll have slide decks if you'd like to do a whole group lesson. You'll have your answer keys and any other additional resources you might need to have a successful lesson. The lessons are also getting a makeover. So all the lessons have been created with a typical class period in mind. So if you run a 45-minute class period, the lessons are structured so that you have time for a warm-up, getting set up, and then also for a cleanup period at the end. All the unit names have also gotten renamed here. And then there's a streamlined lesson and activity completion tracker. So currently the kids just go through the lesson and then mark that lesson done. Each of these lessons now have various components that go along with it. And so you can see that these icons here kind of denote what those components are. So there might be videos, might be some documents or articles to read, some activities like a check-in, maybe some challenges. And these check marks indicate where the student is within that lesson there. So there's that lesson progress tracker. It's also within the lesson as well. So the kids can see it from, their dashboard overview and then also can see it within the lesson. And then we're going to have embedded activities, which is so exciting. So here are two examples from those embedded activities. One is a drawing activity, so the kids can draw. This activity is drawing a flow chart to describe what you're going to wear to school in the morning. And over here, it's an open-ended response. But we'll kind of go over, I think it might be the next slide. It is. Okay, so the updated lesson portal. We're going to have integrated activities, and you can see there's a whole variety of activities the kids will be doing to cement their learning, demonstrate mastery of the content. So we'll have multiple choice or multi-select, true, false. This is a drag and drop right here. We'll have open-ended responses. We'll have some coding activities also within it. So this one here has write a function that will make the drone do 3 push-ups. So the kids would use the blocks or can type in the code here to complete that. There's also going to be drawing, like I said earlier, and also kind of that open-ended, but predicting what's going to happen based on the code that's been created. So that's a really good troubleshooting strategy. The coding challenges I mentioned earlier, this students are able to practice computer science skills using popular games, so like Flappy Bird or Typing Game. And this is all within Drone Lab. It's going to be themed around a drone, but they don't need to fly in order to use these drones. So this is a great way to get kids to still participate in computer science and that critical thinking, but not have drones in the air. And then we're also not going to have junior and senior blocks. I said that like I'm sad. It's great. It's good. So junior and senior blocks normally are up here, and that's how you toggle from one to the other. The difference, if you are like, what is that? Junior blocks are just written, I would say standard, but kind of like conversational, like take off or hover for 3 seconds. Whereas if you get to senior blocks, that is written in Python language. So it's one of those scaffolding mechanisms that we have within the platform to help transition kids from Blockly to Python. Now, without having junior and senior blocks, all those blocks are going to be put into one navigation menu and the kids will just scroll. So anything that is considered more advanced will just be towards the bottom and they'll be organized that way. I unfortunately don't have a picture of that, but it will be coming out soon. Okay, in the store, I think I'm gonna go half screen here. So this is just an FYI in case you weren't aware that we have spare parts for sale or in the store. We do. So when you get your kit, you're given extra batteries, you're given an extra set of propellers, extra set of motors. But if you're wanting to kind of stockpile and create a larger pile of spare parts, you certainly can. Another tool that I'm learning that, or another item that I'm learning that people aren't aware in the store are these frames. So if you're needing to replace your frame, you can do that. You don't have, the drone is still usable, just replace the frame. You don't have, the drone is not out of commission forever. So that's super exciting there, just kind of knowing that it's an option. Some additional accessories that are pretty handy to have on hand are these carrying cases. So this acts as a briefcase to carry your own drone and all your supplies that you need. This programming mat, this is what you can help the drone fly more efficiently. And I'll explain why. The mat is a camo pattern and it helps the sensors on the bottom keep track of its position. And so you're going to have the best flight over a pattern like this. If you're having students fly over anything that's reflective, anything that's really dark, anything that's with lines especially, the drone is not going to have the most consistent flight. So if you're experiencing that, I highly suggest looking into the programming mat or getting a rug that has a camo type pattern. Here is the cable for the TI Inspire and CodeDrone EDU collaboration. So this cable's nice because it's special because it will allow the controller or the calculator to connect to the controller, but it does not allow the controller to drain the battery life from the calculator. So that was a lot of cuz. So that's available. And then also we have this tub, which is so super exciting. It's coming soon. What this tub is it's going to be your classroom organization for your drones. Within the tub, you'll have six, what we're calling trays, and those trays will have spaces for your drone, your controller, wires, anything that your kids need, and so that you're able to just pass off the tray to the student. In the tub, you'll also have room for accessories on the bottom. So if you are struggling with how you want your organization to look, or maybe you need to consolidate your CodeDrone organization, the tub will be a great solution for you. It does hold six. So depending on which class pack you got or how many you end up having, just multiples of six. The aerial drone competition just dropped their new mission yesterday. It is Time Warp. Here is a picture of what the obstacle course is going to look like. Just a heads up that you can get the game elements and the field elements from either the REC Foundation website, but we also have it on the RoboLink website as well. So you're able to get it in both places. The field elements should repeat. I don't believe those get updated. It's the game elements that get updated year to year. Let's do some reminders. Let me do a real quick check on the Q&A. Real quick. Not relevant, but I love the earrings. They are Etsy, yes. And I'm actually going to, I was told if I get them in bulk, I can sell them. And so, I mean, I can sell them anyways. So if you're interested in the drone earrings, reach out. Okay, if there's any questions about the aerial drone competition, I am unable to answer them like specific. So here we have a question about the background check. I do know this year has a little bit of a different system because of the website change. I was told they would contact you, but that's all I know about it. So I'm sorry I'm not able to answer that anymore. This presentation will be recorded and shared. Okay. Yes. So we have a question about the TI Inspire. Is it plug-in code? Yes, you'll plug it in. You'll need to install the software, and then you'll be able to access it, all the code from there. And there will be a manual on the TI website. So I'm so glad you brought that up. Let me circle back real quick. We're doing it live, y'all. Here we go. So the core you will get from our website, but any support that you're needing. So if you're needing, if something's not operating correctly, or if something is, you have a question kind of about the software, you are welcome to email us. We're just going to be rerouting you to TI. So there is a whole landing page that is about this collaboration and has all the supports and resources needed. And so that will be where you'll go for help in that step-by-step manual. Okay, if a piece of the field element is damaged and needs to be replaced, can you buy a single piece? That is a great question. I don't know that for sure. I do know if you reach out to the manufacturer, I've heard they're very good about replacing parts or really great customer service. Okay, Okay, I'm going to circle back to these. I want to keep going. Y'all have some really great questions. Okay, reminders. So your online firmware updates. So we are on latest version 25. It starts with 25. I took this picture. I believe this is the most up to date, but with my luck, it's updated since I took this picture. So if you are operating on any firmware that starts with 24, because I know my drone currently is, you'll need to run the firmware updater. Once you get here and click drone, there is both a GIF or GIF, depending on which theme you're on, and instructions, like text instructions on what to do. Don't be like me. just do it. Just watch it. I was trying to kind of skip ahead and then I was missing a crucial step when I did it last time. So it's super helpful. It can be really, really fast. Once you're done with the drone, it'll prompt you to say, do you want to update your controller? And you can say yes. So, as a reminder, you don't need the drone will fly on an outdated firmware, but it just won't fly the best. This comes out to fix any bugs or glitches that arise. We do know before, I do know like we had a bit of a snafu, but you live and you learn. And that snafu being, just to clarify, it's we pushed something out and then something happened with the drone, but then we were able to fix it really quickly. Okay, the documentation site. So this is not new, but I wanted to highlight a few changes. The one being that with junior and senior blocks going away, let me make myself small. There we are. The junior and senior blocks is going away, and so it's going to get compiled into one. And then another really cool feature is that this open and blockly. So you're actually able to, if you're looking here, you're learning about a piece of code and what it does. There's this example. If you click open and blockly, you will be able to go and practice it and fly it in blockly or code it, whichever. And so that's really nice because now you're not having to build something from scratch as you're learning about a new tool. You're kind of seeing what needs to be there for it to be successful. And I would be remiss if I did not mention, let me change. Hello? Okay, I'm just gonna stay on the screen. If I did not mention a few troubleshooting and maintenance tips. The first is try and use land and avoid using the emergency stop. When you do the emergency stop, everything stops. The propellers don't move, the propellers turn off, or the motors turn off. And so it's gonna fall where it's at, and so there could be some damage there. So if you are doing the emergency stop, just try and have someone be there to catch it. So fly over mats or a light pattern carpet and avoid hard surfaces. And then if you're flying in auditoriums or gymnasiums, just be careful because you don't have that ceiling to stop going really high. A few things to note is when your drone gets too high to the ceiling, it creates kind of like a vacuum and then it might get stuck. So you want to avoid getting close to the ceiling. If it gets stuck, you can do the land or the emergency stop. That's okay. Try and have a marker somewhere in your room or in the auditorium where they don't fly higher than. So like if you're in the gym, you can tell kids don't fly higher than the basketball hoops. Something so where it's like very easily identified of like, oh, I went too high, is kind of the way you can kind of troubleshoot or work around that. With your drones, make sure that if there is a crash, you're checking the motors before each class or after a crash. When replacing a motor, replace it in the correct orientation. If you look at the bottom of your drone, I don't expect you to have a drone on hand, but you can see it in this image right here. The wires are all different, and that's important. So if you're replacing this motor here with a black and white wire or cord, you need to do that here as well. You can't swap. They aren't interchangeable with the colors. If your drone gets stuck, shut off the motors immediately. So that's that emergency stop. If you let it go on too long, it could cause more damage. So we made the drone so that it could be easily fixed, but if there are some things that just can't be fixed, some things that you'll need to get support on, whatever it might be. So if it's stuck, go ahead and stop it immediately. So for propellers, so make sure that your propeller can go through or spin easily without getting stuck on anything. Just making sure that nothing's been stuck. The propellers are going to be going at the speed that you want them to, and you aren't going to perpetuate any damage that could be happening. One side note, I'll call myself out on it. If you have long hair or just hair that can get in the way, I suggest pulling it back. I was at the aerial drone competition or the aerial drone competition summit. I was working with a coach and we were going to the fly area and we actually accidentally pressed the run code. And so instead of me grabbing the drone and turning it off, I reached over to the keyboard to turn it off. And that sucker got sucked up straight into my hair. That's my own fault that my hair was not tied back and I leaned over a flying drone. So don't be like me. You live and you learn. Because I brought up that story, let's just review. If you have a drone that won't, that you grab as a teacher, if you turn it over, it will turn off. So just make sure you grab it on the sides. But that's what I should have done instead of trying to turn off the code on the computer. Also, another note is if you look at your drone, well, the eye level, you should not see any of the propellers above the frame. If you do, that means they're warped or they're bent, and so they need to get replaced. In your box, you actually got a little a tool. It's flat and skinny, has two little prongs. That is your propeller tool. So here's a graphic. You put that under the propeller just to pop it off real quick. And then you can clean it up and then pop it back on. For your batteries, never leave your batteries unattended while they're charging. Now, overnight is one thing. We're talking like weekends, long breaks. Don't, if you need to just unplug them and then try, like, start again in the morning. Don't puncture the batteries. That is something also you can mention to your students. This is part of the design. And so we got to make sure you keep all the pointy things away from it. Let's see. Just a reminder that when it's charging, it's red. When it's done, it's turned off. And then, yeah, if you can, keep your batteries separate from your drones in storage, and then also store them in a separate container. So we suggest a LipoSafe bag just to be safe, just in case. And then you can also use a drone and controller to quickly check the battery life. So this I find is a really great job for students to have them start the class period or maybe get into class early and double check that this set of batteries are going to be good to go for flight that day just by plugging them into a connected drone, and you can see the battery life on the controller. When you have your controller, so of course I have this handy as well, make sure everything's folded in and you're not carrying it by the antenna, not carrying it by the cord, and you're being gentle and kind with this as well. With the antenna also, I don't think it's on the screen. You just lift it up. Technically, you can twist it. We don't suggest that. Just up and down. It's good to go. And then get the most out of your support ticket. So in the event that you do have to do a support ticket, our support team is wonderful. They're so great. Sometimes I will email support just because I want to like follow the rules, and I'm always impressed. So what you'll do is you will make sure you add support@robolink.com to your whitelist. So when you put in a support ticket online, you will get a response right away. If you don't, that means that something with the filter is happening. And so you can check your spam, but you might need to check IT if you can't find it because that email will be there like automatically. If you could, when you put in a ticket, have your order or PO number ready. That way they can get most caught up with your order and kind of when you ordered, what you ordered. Uh, Another note is that I am all about student autonomy, student voice. But with this, with support tickets, send them from the teacher email and not the student email. One, privacy laws, things like that. But then also, students have way more protections and filters on their emails than teachers. So just to ensure also continuous communication, send it from the teacher email. You can have the students draft it if you're really wanting them to have some sort of involvement with your support ticket, but it needs to be from the teacher email. And then submit videos and images. So you'll need a picture of your firmware screen, just showing that's the most up to date, a picture of your account log, and then a video of the behavior that your drone is experiencing. Okay, y'all, we're flying by. We're doing great. That's about how to get involved. I turned off. Okay, there we are. So these are community programs that we have. They are relatively new. So the ambassador program, like I said, launched last year. This is these are our users that use them in the classroom. They use them in the competition. They have some really great innovative ideas that I know I lean on just for inspiration, answer some questions. This is application based, and so the next cohort applications won't open until later this school year, so probably like November time. In the meantime, well, not in the meantime, I'm sorry. If maybe you're new to CoDrone and you are thinking you want to get more involved, we are going to have a certified educators program. So this one is very similar to if you're involved in any other certified educators programs. It's very similar. It's just a way for you to get more familiar with CoDrone, with RoboLink, and all of our resources, and then you'll have a badge or the certification to show for your familiarity. That is coming soon. We did have our first group at We Teach CS become certified educators. So big thanks to them for being our first group. The course should be finalized and good to go for everybody, probably around November as well. But then we also have a RoboLink CoDrone EDU Facebook group. So we call it the CoDrone EDU community. And so this is just kind of like a hub for users of CoDrone EDU. And so if you're wanting to ask questions, maybe you want to answer some questions, you want to share your success or just connect with anyone, this is a great place to do that. A lot of times, if you are a STEM coach or computer science teacher, you are a singleton on your campus. And so this is one way that we're hoping to connect users so that you aren't a singleton, because that's such a bummer. So if you are a singleton, you're wanting to connect, we highly recommend and would love for you to join us. Now, who wants early access to RoboLink Learn? That is what we're calling our new curriculum. All you'll need to do if you are interested is fill out the post-webinar survey. So that will pop up at the end when the webinar ends. You'll have to fill the survey out. I'll also send it out in the follow-up email. With this early access, we are, I don't say begging, that's a little dramatic. We are highly requesting feedback. And so we'd love to know your input. We'd love to know from the user, from the classroom teacher, what are your thoughts? What are your needs with what we have provided? Now we have former teachers on staff who are helping develop this. So we do have that, but we want someone in the classroom now helping us. So that could be you. So let us know. And then who wants a drone? So those that have attended this webinar live, I have your emails documented. Y'all are going to be put into a drawing, and then I will announce the winner in a follow-up email. It'll be on social media, and then I will send you your drone kit. So thank you so much for being here. Let's go over some questions real quick. Okay, so anything with the aerial drone competition, I would love to answer them for you, but I don't have the most up-to-date answer, and I certainly don't want to lead you astray. So I am going to just refer you to your regional support manager, or if you just want to go to the Rec Foundation website and put in a request there, you can. Okay. Oh, I do have a clarification. So earlier when I talked about the aerial drone competition field elements and game elements, I said they're available on the Rec Foundation's website. I misspoke. It's linked out. It will take you to either the RoboLink website or Drone Competition Gates websites. So thank you for clarifying that. Are you able to fix the wires on the drones? I would love to know that answer as well. So I think the best plan of attack for that or any support questions would be to reach out to support@robolink.com. They'll be able to figure out what exactly is wrong with the wires on the drones, and then they'll be able to troubleshoot that with you and then give you a yes or no. And then are batteries still okay? That's a great question. Mary, you asked a question about your battery and what it looks like. Again, I would love to know the answer. I don't know it. So if you could put in a support ticket and include a picture, they'll be able to say yes or no. And then if we need to get you a replacement, we can. And then yes, I am sharing out this recorded video in our follow-up email. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. We're done a little early. Oh, you can't see my screen? Don't you love when technology decides to glitch out on you? Here we go. I think it'll show up in a second. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now it's gone. Okay, give me a sec. There we are. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're on social media, we are RoboLink Inc. and we are on the major platforms. I would love to connect with you there. I would love to continue the conversation, and I want to see what's happening in the classroom. Thank you guys. Y'all have a great day.